So on this episode, we're going to be talking about childcare. We're talking about being a second-class citizen in your own home, and we're talking about who am I to talk about giving any sort of advice. How are we doing, everyone? Welcome to Dadvice Q&A number 3. Firstly, I just wanted to start by saying a fantastic well done to Leciester City. What they've done is just absolutely amazing. I don't think that any sporting achievement is as big and as unexpected as this, the 5,000 to 1 outsiders winning the Premier League. This is bigger than Nottingham Forest. This is bigger than Wimbledon winning the FA Cup. It's bigger than anything in our lifetime. It's bigger than any individual sporting achievement I can even think of. I think if I ran another marathon, I think I'd probably have more chance of winning that marathon than Leicester did of winning the Premier League at the beginning of the season. So it's just incredible. Congratulations to them. Yeah, fantastic stuff. How are they going to do in the Champions League next year? Let's see. I've seen that they're already about 50 to 1 to win the Champions League, which is just mental. But who knows? No one's going to put them at 5,000 to 1 again, are they? The bookies are crying about that one. Cool. So let's kick this one off. Actually, before I do, I just wanted to mention something. I've experienced my daughter's first lie. Maybe she's had more than one lie, but this is the first one that I've actually known that she was lying, and I don't see it as a bad thing. So basically, we keep a little pot of old keepsakes from when she was a baby, and in that pot we've kept one of the dummies. She found that pot the other day. She stopped using her dummy, I don't know, well over a year ago. But she found that pot. And without us knowing, she'd taken that dummy and put it under her pillow, so that when she goes to bed, she's got her old dummy. And bedtime, for the first time, was so easy. She got into the bath with no issues. She stopped watching TV, went up to the bath, no issues getting changed, no issues getting in the bath, no issues getting out the bath. I've never seen her get into her pyjamas that quick, ever. Into her pyjamas, nice bedtime story. No, I think she said, "No, I don't want a bedtime story, Daddy. No, thank you. Just a kiss in the night." Kiss in the night. I was like, that's amazing. She's in bed, it's like taken less than half the time it usually does. 5 minutes later, she nipped out of bed because her hair was wet. So changed the pillow. As my partner went to change the pillow, she noticed, hang on a minute, there's something in the pillow, and it was the dummy. So she took the dummy away, changed the pillowcase, put it down. 2 minutes later, out comes my little daughter, wondering where the dummy's disappeared to. So yeah, she was being a little bit sneaky. But to be honest, like I said, I see the sneakiness. It's kind of like a little white lie. I don't see it as a bad thing. It's part of her growing up. It's part of her being intelligent and realising that she can get what she wants by not telling us. And if she told us or asked us, she wouldn't have got it. But we've had the conversation. We've explained now why she can't have the dummy. It's not good for her teeth. She's going to be going to school soon, and that she can't have it at school. She's grown up, and it's a sign that she's grown up. and she accepted that, and unless she's sneakily got the dummy somewhere else, it's back in the cupboard. All good. Cool, so let's get into this now. 3 questions again, you know the format by now. Question number 1 from George in London. Enjoying the show. Who am I to give advice? So, who are you to give advice? I would say, George, that this is not so much advice, it's more my comments, my thoughts, my own experience. Okay, I'm not a granddad. I haven't had a daughter that's grown up to past 18 years old. So this is simply just my own thoughts, my own comments on what I know, and also from chatting to a lot of dads as part of writing the first Dadvice book about the first season, fatherhood. This is normal. This is kind of just normal stuff. It's just my own comments, my own little tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way, as well as that from other dads as well. So, I am more than happy to have people to say, "Hey, Alex, what you're saying is wrong. Well, I think I've done something in a completely different way and it's worked." It's not a black and white way of doing this. It's really to kind of get the conversation going, and to hopefully give some value that other dads can take out of this, including you, George. So hopefully that answers your question. Hopefully you're happy with that one. Question number 2. Since my son was born, it's like I'm a second-class citizen in my own home. Is this normal? How can I change it? And that's from Lewis in London. That's a great question, Lewis. In my experience, and speaking to other dads as well, yes, completely normal. So normal that it would be weird if it was not happening. It'd be weird if you didn't feel that. I know people that think that they're on the lower rung of the ladder than the cat or the dog. It's just natural. I mean, your partner's had the big changes like we discussed in previous episodes. The most important thing for her now is that she's a mother. Anything in any way that kind of gets in the way of her being the best mum she possibly can is an interruption. It's not personal. She's going to be so focused on doing things in the right way because she wants to be the best mum she possibly can. That's human nature. That you're coming in, and even if you're coming in and trying to help, because you're not doing it bang on her way, there might be a bit of friction there. I'm not saying this is all the case. I'm not saying that all women turn into monsters. Sometimes you can have these little issues, and yeah, that can be very difficult. There's not one way to deal with it. I think communication is the main advice that I would give. So just it's speaking about what you're going to do before you're going to do it. But very much is a little thing that worked for me is very much speaking about what you're going to do, following through and actually doing that, and being consistent with what you do, not taking it personal if they ask you to do something in a different way. And then that's the thing, it's going and doing it rather than asking permission to do something, or asking like, what would you like me to do? They don't kind of want you to be, in my experience, a kind of a spare part. They want you to take the lead on things, but at the same time they'll be nervous that you are taking the lead on things. So expect the nervousness, but still try to take the lead on some things, whether that's feeding the baby, changing the nappy, just doing some housework. Do it without asking permission, but communicate that you're planning to do it so they know. That's all the advice I can give. It takes time and it will get better. It's a great question though, Lewis. Question number 3, help. Entering the childcare zone. My 1-year-old needs to go to childcare soon. Any tips? From Will in Kent. Great question, Will. Childcare can be an absolute minefield. It can be a crazy business, and it can exhaust, it can just extract so much money from your monthly income that it's a nightmare. I'm going to talk from my own experience now. So picture a scene where the dad, I know this isn't general, but hopefully it applies to a few dads. So the dad is already back to work, working full time. The mum is considering going back to work, or kind of needs to go back to work. So the first question that I think you should ask from a rational point of view is there enough money coming in just from your wallet for the family to survive? If yes, then fantastic. You can then ask that question, like, does mum want to work? Do you want the baby to go to childcare to get kind of more social development? So you ask those questions. Most people will fit into the second box of no, dad's salary alone isn't enough, or having mum's salary come in spite of the extra childcare costs and the travel costs, now she's going back to work, having mum's money come in is worth enough that it's worth her going back to work, and she wants to go back to work, okay? So that's where most people fit in. So I would say, you check the money, just dad on his own. You check the money with mum going back to work as well. Excuse me. The question then, on the mum's one, is her salary comes in, you got to think the relative childcare costs off the back of that, as well as travel expense, as well as additional kind of lunch expense that you otherwise wouldn't have had. So those costs are now happening because mum's going back to work. That's how you come up with that magic sum, that magic number of, is it worth it? Most of the time, people think, yes, it is worth it. Not all the time, but most of the time, it can be, to either a full-time or a part-time level. So you need to kind of do that calculation twice for full-time and part-time if that's an option. You decide, say, mum goes back to work, say, 4 days a week. She's then going back to 4 days a week. You then got childcare. Now you know it's time to consider the childcare and what you want out of your childminder. My main tips now for actually picking a childminder is think about the location. It's got to be kind of nearby your house. Think about your commute. Ask them about any late fees and how flexible they can be with time, because that can be an absolute nightmare. Kind of, if you're rushing back, busting your balls, make sure you don't get back there 2 minutes late, because you're going to get penalised £10 for every minute or something like that. You wouldn't want a situation like that. So think about that. Try and find someone that you feel is on the same wavelength as both you and your partner, so you can communicate with and you can trust. And trust is the biggest part of this. You know, they're looking after your little one, so trust is huge. And just have a conversation with them. You know, don't be afraid to ask all the questions. If they're a great childminder, then they're going to want to answer these questions. They're going to want to field these questions. So, I mean, there's a few tips off the top of my head. One on how to come up with a decision about whether to have childcare, and number two, when you actually choose your childminder, think about those kind of variables. Last question, last piece of advice on that one as well, I would say, is ask them about what other kids are going to be there when your kid is going to be there, because you want to know, one, that there are the right amount of children, that you know they haven't exceeded their quota in any way, and two, you want to just be sure that your child is kind of engaging with kids of a certain level that you're happy with. Maybe you're happy with them being the oldest, maybe you'd like them to actually have kids that are older. So yeah, just some things to think about there, and very best of luck with that. Cool, so there's the 3 questions. Again, congratulations to Leicester on winning the league, fantastic, so happy for them. And yeah, that's the final whistle. So I'll see you on episode 4 coming up soon. That's the final whistle. Go and subscribe. Cheers, guys.